All right, let's do a little bit of prep work with him, and then we'll be ready to do an intubation. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to position him a little bit better. Let's get an ear to sternal notch ratio going. So looking from the side, this notch right here should be about level with this ear. And that'll be pretty good positioning. We also want to make sure that there's apneic oxygenation on. Let's throw that on. And then let's prep the tube securing device as well. So we're going to sneak that behind the patient. I think that's about right. Bag valve mask already has the end tidal CO2 on it, and then a PEEP valve as well. Video laryngoscope is on. Let's make sure it's recording. Good to go. Backup airways, I have surgical, supraglottic. And I also have a standard geometry blade for this one scope that has a bougie next to it. And then we're going to be leading with suction, and I'm going to be using a rigid stylet that already has the syringe attached. So we'll take it from the position of I'm the person at the head, and I've been directing people on how to get ready for this intubation, and I'm holding a two-hand bag valve mask seal while somebody else is bagging. So when I take this off and I'm ready to go, I am going to remove from the mask immediately when I put it down. We're going to grab the suction, and that's how we're going to hold that tongue out of the way a little bit as we remove this oral airway. And we're going to make sure that we continue to lead with that suction during this laryngoscopy. So that's going to sneak ahead a little bit. And we'll just notice some of our landmarks on the way down here. Not plunging in. So here's our uvula. These are going to be our tonsils on both sides. Let's get the tongue in view. And that right there is the epiglottis that we're looking for. So let's advance a little bit by little bit and get into that vallecula. That right there is that hyoepiglottic ligament that we want to engage. So I want my blade kind of midline, and I want to engage that because the further I drive into it, it's going to indirectly lift that glottis, that epiglottis a little bit. So we can suction if we needed to. And then what I'm going to do, pay attention to my hands here, is when this comes out, it's going to go into the left-hand side over here, and watch the screen. It's going to sneak down there into that esophagus. If I need room over here on the right side of the blade, I can just put my finger in there, do what Jim calls a salad poke. I still have a pretty good view. I could engage that hyoepiglottic ligament a little more if I turn the blade like that. So we'll go in. This should go into the side of the mouth like this. You want to hold this in a way that you can pop it. So this is how you'd grab this. Goes into the side of the mouth. We approach from the bottom right, and we kind of slot machine it up. Now I get it seated, and then I pop and advance a little bit. And then I pop and I advance a little bit until that cuff disappears. I'm going to hold it with my left hand, and then I'm going to go like this, kind of following the curvature of that rigid stylet. Go ahead and inflate. Now here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to take this laryngoscope out yet, because in case I have to troubleshoot this tube at all, which we can see on the screen still. If I have to troubleshoot the depth of that tube or anything, I can still see that pretty well, and I'm barely holding any pressure on this laryngoscope whatsoever. It's just there to take a peek. And if everything looks good, I'll hold the tube really good, and then I'll remove this laryngoscope. I'll remove the suction device, and then my tube securing device is here all ready for me.